Hi, 7th grade. This is the information for Tuesday the 12th and the 13th. Tuesday will be a live on Zoom class, so we will preview the week. We'll go over Friday and Monday, and then the topic for Tuesday will be probability. So this week, it's continuing with our study of genetics. Yesterday, you should have completed the alien inheritance gizmo. For Tuesday the 12th, we're looking at probability. Wednesday is a continuation of that, where you continue working on Punnett squares. Thursday and Friday, we'll be looking at advantages and disadvantages of asexual versus sexual reproduction. Friday was looking and making a collage. There was a video if you needed a refresher. So an acquired trait is something that is learned. So learning to read, learning to speak a new language, birds learning to fly, a horse staying away from electric fence, a dog learning to sit. Those are all things that are learned. Inherited traits are ones that are carried by genes and passed on to offspring. So we looked at a whole bunch of these when we did our survey, looking at your hairline or how your ears are attached. If you have the hitchhiker's thumb, if you can roll your tongue, these are all things that are inherited from parent to offspring. These were all human ones, obviously. Monday was a really important lesson. This will be something that I look at very closely when you turn in your digital notebook. So here we're looking at acquired versus learned traits again, and looking at asexual versus sexual reproduction. So a great view of things we're looking at this week. For the warm-up, you're looking at asexual reproduction and this creating of a clone. Then for inherited traits, you were looking at sexual reproduction and then looking at how the traits were handed down. And then looking at which ones were passed down, things like green skin and curly antennas. The body type and tattoos were not passed down. Remember, things that are not passed down are acquired, inherited versus acquired. Then we're looking at food supply. Then we're looking at antenna shape and how it's inherited. And this started looking again and reinforcing our understanding of dominant versus recessive traits. And then looking at continuing with that, the dominant and recessive traits. So for today, on Tuesday the 12th, we'll be looking at heredity and probability. So probability is a number that describes how likely an event can occur. So if I do something as simple as flipping a coin, the probability of getting heads is half or 50%. We can write these as a ratio or as a percent. Here we're going to learn about Punnett squares, and that's a chart to kind of figure out what the likelihood of things happening is. So we take these alleles and we split them apart and think about how they're going to be crossing with one another. If I take a pure round, so that would be dominant, dominant, and a pure wrinkled, that would be recessive, recessive. I separate them out and place them over here on this chart. So again, the dominant, dominant gets split. The recessive, recessive gets split, and then you see what the possible combinations are. So I could have a dominant recessive, a dominant recessive, a dominant recessive, a dominant recessive. And so I look at the different probabilities here. So the probability of having a heterozygous is 4 out of 4, 0 out of 4 for the others, and a 4 out of 4 chance of having those round seeds. Here we're looking at flower color. So here we're taking a heterozygous purple by a pure white. So we split those up again, and then we look at how they combine here. So capital P, lowercase p, lowercase p, lowercase p, and so on. So which trait is the dominant trait? That's going to be purple flowers, white flowers. The genotype is 2 to 2. Phenotype is also 2 to 2. Some individual practice. Please pause this video and complete these practice on your own.